Well, you could say the same about the atomic bomb, right?
Yes, you could.
And you could say that we have to develop it like Oppenheimer felt before the Nazis
I
did.
love that. How'd that work? How'd that work?
Well,
I love, by the way, that people on my side, I'll just admit it, on the right, have spent the last 80 years defending dropping nuclear weapons on civilians. Like, are you joking?
right.
That's just like prima facie evil.
Yeah.
If you can't, well, if we hadn't done that, then this, that, the other thing, that was actually a great savings. Like, no, it's wrong to drop nuclear weapons on people. And if you find yourself arguing that it's a good thing to drop nuclear weapons on people, then you are evil. Like it's not a tough one, right? It's not a hard call for you. It's not a hard call for me. So with that in mind, like, why would you want nuclear weapons? It's like just a mindless, childish sort of intellectual exercise to justify, like, oh no, it's really good because someone else will get it. How about no? How about like spending all of your effort to prevent this from happening? Would you kill baby Hitler? Famously.
Right.
What's going on, everyone? It's Talks with Kenny here today. We're going to talk about Tucker Carlson setting the internet ablaze. Now, everyone's criticizing Tucker Carlson, and I've been noticing on Twitter. And the two clips that seem to be getting everyone's attention is one, Tucker Carlson's moral take on dropping atomic bombs on Japan. But to me, it wasn't specifically Japan. I think Tucker Carlson was using Japan as an example, but he was talking about the morality of using atomic bombs to end wars and dropping nuclear bombs and the fact of defending it. And Tucker sees it as a way of rationalizing evil, right? Like rationalizing evil acts to justify some moral good, right? It's like a Milton Friedman argument. If you use force to to make someone do something good, it's in fact evil because you use force, right? It's this kind of moral conundrum, and I like it. I like the fact that people are out here questioning, challenging, having public debates, because I feel like stuff like this is more substantive than debating about some cultural issues that what could be a good one, dating dynamics. I don't know. I just feel like it's been a while since the public started talking about intellectual histrionics and actually striving to learn more. Like people are out here like researching theory of evolution, seeing if they like it or not. I have my own thoughts about it. We'll get to that later, but I want to focus on this first part. So let's go into the criticisms for some of the defenders of what Tucker Carlson is saying. Some people are saying that Tucker Carlson is talking like a leftist. That would be Ben Shapiro. But first, we'll see from Dave Smith, a libertarian. So, more of a neutral, someone who doesn't align with either the left or right on the war. The Daily Wire is head with a more double or dishonest take than anything I ever heard out of the woke left. Evidently, if you think the government might lie to its people or question the morality of leaving little children with their skins falling off, that means you hate your country. And I think this is the point that I was highlighting before, that war, like, it's the same argument I make about Israel and Gaza. Like, hey, you attack another country, you can't really moralize how they're supposed to respond. This is like the realist in me coming out. Ideally, you would want them not to, work stuff out peacefully, but that we don't live in a world of ideals. We don't live in a perfect world, right? If men were perfect, we wouldn't need government. And Allah, here's government. And the reality is that, hey, Israel has the means to defend itself. Israel has the means to exert its power and control over Gaza, right? Gaza did something. They condone a government that didn't really care about the fall of its own people. And this is a similar stance with Japan that I'm gonna go into. How Japan emperor was known to be ruthless. How they was like, hey, we'll never surrender, right? Because as a guy who watched anime, I'm very familiar with Japanese culture. These men, they'll kill themselves over honor. They felt like they were ashamed. Damn, I lost a fight in my life. That's Japanese culture, okay? So I understand, like, you had to show an overwhelming show of force to end the war quickly. And the funny part about this World War stuff, World War II, and talking about war, is this idea that the U.S. had like intervened, because people try to make parallels with World War II, not understanding the context that World War II, we got dragged into the World War. We were trying to be Sweden. We was like, this ain't our problem. Hey, Europe, that's y'all. We trying to sit here minding our own business, and we got dragged into the war because Japan decided to attack the Pearl Harbor. That's how we got dragged into this war. The same way I have in my video, some people didn't like it, but That's just my thoughts. That's where I'm at. I'm America first. I'm not anti-Israel. I'm not anti was Palestine. I am anti-Hamas, right? I don't like terrorist groups. But hey, that's another story. I'm pro-America. And whatever's in the best interest of America is what I'll follow. Spending $60 billion is not in the best interest of Americans because you're putting Americans last. When was the last time we signed a package exclusively for the American people? I'm waiting. You're putting your people last and you expect me to be supportive of foreign aid, foreign wars? I'm not interventionist. I'm not a full-on isolationist, but I do believe most of our public spending, if we are going to spend money at all, it should be for the American people. 80% of the time, 80% of the bills passed should be for the American people. 80% of the money being spent should be for the American people, not foreign aid. I think if you calculate it, I don't know, maybe someone could do the numbers for me in the comment section. If you calculate how much money we spend on foreign aid compared to domestic spending, I will wager foreign aid is either equal or more than what we spend on our own citizens, excluding Social Security and Medicare and health benefits and social welfare programs. I'm talking about like designated spend, like spending done by bills passed today. And you'll see this fallacy, this problem. And this is what American First is about, right? Because the people try to make these false acquaintances as if you're saying, oh, you hate Hamas, oh, you hate Israel. I don't give a damn about none of y'all. I care about what's best for America, and what y'all doing here ain't good. And this is where my problem with morality is. When it comes to war, you really don't have that luxury, right? It's about trade-offs. It's about one bad decision and you try to pick the less worse decision. Now, some people equate, hey, a lot of lives could have been lost. The libertarians have always been anti-war. So this is why I want you guys to get their take on this. They're saying, hey, government will lie to you and say anything to justify why they want to go to war. The same sentiment that's happening right now on the right. And I think a lot of people, right, asking questions is problematic. And the funny part about all this stuff is that I'm going to show you a video about Ben Shapiro. But President Eisenhower and aligned commanders in Europe during World War II recalled in 1963, as he did on several other occasions, that he had opposed using the atomic bomb on Japan during a 1945 meeting with the Secretary of War, Henry Simpson. I told him I was against it on two counts. First, the Japanese were ready to surrender, and it wasn't necessary to hit them with that awful thing. Second, I hated to see our country be the first to use such a weapon. Right? So this is the sentiment I think that Tucker was hitting at. And a lot of people, right, on the right understand the sentiment. Dropping the nukes on Japan was justified and saved orders of magnitude more lives than it cost, right? It's like the Thanos situation, right? If everyone was going to starve, is it justified to kill half the people in the world so the other half can live on fruitful and compelling lives? It's the Thanos scenario. It's a case, but if you put it out a moral lens, you're like, we can't do that. We should look for an alternative. And I think that's the sentiment that Tucker Carlson was trying to communicate. But obviously, people can hit at Tucker Carlson. I don't think Tucker Carlson articulated himself well. But even though I feel like it's a lot of people reaching, oh, he said dropping bombs on Fukushima was bad. Or Hiroshima. I think I got one of the names mixed up. Imperial Japan was led by a death cult with an ideology every bit as evil as the Nazis. It was either bomb or sacrifice millions of Americans. Easy and moral call. According to you, sure. And this is why I said, like, morality is subjective. Now, in our day and age, if you live in a culture where you don't have an objective moral view, right? You don't have God. You don't believe in any principles. You can call anything moral. Because if it's functioning, hey, if less of my guys die and more of your guys die, it's good, right? Because it's subjective. But if you flip it around, the other, you killed, how many lives were lost? 1 million lives were lost, plus the 200 that got bombed by Japan. What if Japan never surrendered? Like, let's play that scenario out. If Japan never surrendered, you would have just kept dropping bombs on them? Quick, maybe 40 minutes? And then I'll give, more follow-up to this video. Let's go.
Thing that's happening here. We've talked about it before on the program, that you have this constellation of far leftists who are rather friendly toward Hamas, who generally are isolationist on foreign policy, but they're isolationist on foreign policy mainly because they believe that the United States is a nefarious force in the world. They're sort of Howard Zinn or Noam Chomsky with regard to American foreign policy. America is actually bad. That horseshoe theory has now swung all the way around, and it includes some people on the right.
So this is one thing I've been trying to maybe highlight is I think there's a political realignment that's going on. There's a shift from the older generations, from the younger generations. And the younger generation, I think why this sentiment is growing, why this isolationist sentiment is growing, especially with younger people, is the fact that we see how much politicians pay and fund all these foreign interactions. It's globalism in a way. That you're a busybody, you're getting into everyone's business because you have this need to feel needed. Now, some people are saying, hey, we can't be passively not a part of the global state of things. And to me, that's not an isolationist perspective. I think an isolationist, a workable isolationist philosophy or strategy is the fact that you don't make it a thing to get in. Your first response is to help your allies or get involved with your allies. Because with this war with Russia, for instance, let's use Ukraine because Israel's still a hot button topic nowadays. Who's more at risk if Russia takes over Ukraine? Ain't the U.S. Ain't going to be the U.S. for a long time. It's what? The European countries. How much money has the European countries sent to Ukraine? I'm waiting. Not as much as the U.S. So why is one country, the United States of America, sending so much billions of dollars to Ukraine, but they're the country least likely to be affected, at least for the short term, against Russia invading Ukraine? Why are we spending more money than all the European countries combined, who are more likely to be at immediate danger if Russia invades Ukraine, than the United States of America? This is what a lot of American first conservatives like myself, or I like to brand myself as the new right, this is what we're concerned about. This is not isolationist. This is put your country first-anist. We want a different priority structure that is currently being espoused by our political class today. Like I just stated earlier, I bet you this year we spending more money on foreign affairs. How is it fair? How can you sell to the American people that the American people pay 100% of the taxes, but they barely get any of the benefit from the spending that's being done on these bills? Make it make sense. And I don't think Tucker is saying America is evil, or maybe he did. He said if you defend dropping nuclear bombs on children, you are evil. I think that was a quote that Tucker Carlson said. But the fact that, Ben Shapiro's out here trying to reframe it as something else, I don't know if there's some rivalry going on between Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson, but I believe that a lot of people are misframing his words, right? They're doing the same thing they do to Trump. Oh, we sacrifice the immigrants, or what to say, ruining the blood of the country or something, polluting the blood of the country. Misquote, oh my God, Trump said it's a bloodbath. I think this conservative media like Ben Shapiro, they're doing kind of the same thing to Tucker Carlson, painting him as kooky, insane. I'm just like, yo, I saw this as normal dudes just talking to ish. Like I'm sitting with my neighbor in the backyard talking just random thoughts, right? I don't think it was a well thought of thing. I just think it's like, oh, I'm just saying what I'm thinking. And for that, oh yeah, Tucker says America's evil for dropping the A-bomb. He's wrong. Like, to make a quick little, I don't know, man. Honestly, I believe everyone's entitled to their opinions. Everyone's entitled to their beliefs, facts or not. I don't know is a fact. Like, end of the day, everyone's making rationalizations. Like, is it a fact? Like, if we played a different scenario in history, we don't have that luxury. Time doesn't go backwards, right? What would have happened if we didn't drop the bomb in Hiroshima? Some people say we're going to drop 1 million American troops to invade inland. No, I don't think we needed to do that. I think we could have played a defensive war and starved them out. Who knows? Like, end of the day, no one can say for certain that this is exactly how it would have played out if we never dropped the bombs on Hiroshima. I think that's where it was. The 2 bombs on Japan, and the third one was going to go hit Tokyo. I know that one for sure. All right. So no one can like fully 100% say, oh, I know exactly what would have happened if this didn't happen. We can make speculations, we can make claims, but I think not having that discussion shows that we won't learn from history. I think this is the whole conversation. Learning from history. Because now we can easily get back into the same scenario again with Ukraine, Israel, Gaza, and possibly a Taiwan conflict. And we will get into a similar scenario. And The fact that we haven't been able to debate this stuff in hindsight, talk about, hey, was there another way? Was there a better way to handle that situation given the information that we know now in hindsight, and reflect on it so that way future leaders can make better decisions? But this foregone conclusion, oh no, it was good. It was perfectly justified and moral to drop bombs on Japan. Look at their capitalist country now. They're good now. But I could spin it a different way. If I took morality out of it, the U.S. flexes power, say submit country, submit and follow my doctrine. Now, if America was a socialist country, America was a communist country, if America was a monarchy, and they wanted to expand their influence and power, and they were dropping bombs on Hiroshima because you decided to attack our people, now we're going to take you over and conquer you, would that bomb have a different aspect to it? This is just where I'm taking it. Like, people could see it like outside of the U.S., and I think this is what Tucker Carlson was really hinting at. Outside of the U.S., people could perceive that as, damn, America just flexes muscles like, oh, we better fall in line. Us tying in, oh, you better operate your government like this or we're not going to give you foreign aid. Bribing people, putting in puppet regimes so we can still have influence and power over the continent, like in Iraq, I believe, or Afghanistan. I forget which one. You know, so many wars, I'm mixing them up. But we come in, deck out everybody in a month, install a puppet government. We leave. Puppet government can't maintain the will, the stability with the people. People revolt, take over. A more extreme person come in, and then we do it all over again. And all in that period of time, we're spending trillions, billions of dollars. That's how Hamas got where they at today. This is how Habullah, whatever their name is, got here today. Because of this little charade of us trying to pretend that we can control the outcomes of what happens here. And I think this is what Tucker Carlson is talking about. And I think this is why on the right, we're getting a lot of anti-war sentiments, because we've seen it play out. All we have to do is look back into the past. So I ask you again, was it really, was that the really option? Was that the real option? And a lot of the information seems to not be clear. People trying to make certainty. Yes, this was certain. This was certain. But you have a president saying, hey, yeah, they quit. They were ready to surrender. We just dropped it. But asking questions, oh, no, you don't love this country. There's a difference between loving the government and loving your people. And I think I love my people.